Sign. Am I, you want me to?
Marcia, would you do the honors of leading the meeting?
We'll call the meeting to order. We have an invitation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, you created all people and all of creation. And we give you thanks for this gift. And you've invited us to engage with hope, joy, and love as your children. Open our hearts, our minds, and our eyes, as well as our souls, to see our community as you would have us see it, in all its complexity and all of its diversity. Help us to seek your wisdom and to find the courage you would have us exhibit to sit and hear others, when so often we want to be heard first. You are good and you are gracious, O God. Let us see all people as your children, who created us all. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pages.
I would ask if we can add a brief executive session, about 15 minutes for attorney-client privilege, and that'll be with the commissioners, Justin, myself, and Chief Gearing.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Go on to public comments. This is a time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you state your name, address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If not, we'll move on to proclamations. About quarterly report.
Good evening. First of all, I just want to say early this morning, I had found out that a friend had a fire at her home. So I just want to give a thank you to the quick response of our police station and our fire department. So thank you, gentlemen, for what you do and that quick response to the family home. Thank you, all of you, for your service to the city of Concordia. And it feels like this year is flying by. I got to thinking, I was like, okay, it's already October. And a year ago was when Amy had submitted our MIH. And we were looking at the tax credits. And here we are, we're still plugging away on that project, which is very exciting, but we already kind of knew the time frame that we were going to be in. So I know that all of you did receive the third quarter report of things that have been happening in the Cloud Corp office. A lot of the same meetings I realize do repeat. One of the most important meetings was our meeting that we attended. Amy and I attended a meeting at KHRC to talk to them about our tax credits and what we were looking at and moving forward. And I feel like we came out of that meeting very successful. We realized that having that face-to-face meeting was better than having a team meeting or an online meeting, because I think we were there 2.5 hours just tossing ideas back and forth. And Amy had suggested that face-to-face meeting. So I was very glad that we actually drove down there for that meeting. And I feel like things are definitely in the positive direction for our tax credits in this MIH project. Community involvement. Deb Lang and we did work hard for the downtown one day. We spent a day cleaning up tree areas. I know all of you are addressing the birds, and we continue to think, oh, it looks so great the day that we walked away, but we're going to continue to see what we can do to help the downtown Concordia as well. and keeping it looking nice as far as on the Broadway Plaza side. I attended the ribbon cutting for shelter insurance, a meeting with Tracy Mann, and then a meeting with Ty Masterson. And then something that's very exciting for Cloud Corp in Cloud County, our breaking news, Cloud Corp was invited to become an authorized e-community, which only 31 of our 105 counties are authorized. And that's going to give us access to the Grow Kansas funds with loans up to $100,000. I think we had so much success because we've just became e-community a year ago in June or July. And this calendar year of 2023, Cloud Corp has been associated through our e-community loans of loaning out $168,000. And of that, $50,400 was in grants. So very exciting, the assistance that we have been able to have with our county and our businesses in our county. And we're looking forward to seeing where this authorized $100,000 can go. In fact, I had a conversation with one of our local businesses today. It's like I tell people, I don't know what I don't know. So if businesses or people aren't contacting me or letting me know, I might not know of a future project they're looking at. In fact, that was one of the conversations today. The business that I stopped in, he told me some future projections, and I said, thank you for sharing that. And I kind of tossed out this $100,000 Grow Kansas loan fund that's available now through our office. We have not released any media on that because Network Kansas is still training us. Our finance committee had to go through a specialized training, and we have one more person that has yet to take that. And they did tell us, you know, if someone comes in and this is looking like a loan that your office could give them, reach out. We'll make sure your final finance committee member gets that training taken care of and we can move forward with that. So very excited about our e-community partnership. In fact, Amber at the college texted me yesterday. She was at a meeting in Manhattan at K-State. She said, we're an e-community, right? And I said, yes. And actually the exciting news is we're now an authorized e-community. So awesome things happening there. The Get in the Cloud, we're moving on our 10th year already, which is very exciting. 2024 will be 10 years. I did sit down with my Get in the Cloud committee this last quarter, and we reviewed the application and the guidelines, and they had some suggestions. I had taken that to my executive committee. We talked about it at a board meeting. The next step, I will take it to the county commissioners for their approval, and we'll get the changes made online to just some minimal changes, how we think the process can be tweaked just a little bit. And that was through the Get in the Cloud committee suggestions of getting together to kind of look through that. Housing. I know most of you know all that is going on with our housing project. I'm very excited about this project. Yes, I've had to have numerous conversations on the tax credit side of this project and returning in monthly reports to KHRC. I truly enjoyed our monthly meetings, our builder developer meetings, talking about where we're at and where we're going from here. We are still trying to get some infill property. I feel like we're very close. In fact, we just really needed to nail down the tax credit side of things. And very thankful as well that the Planning Commission passed the project and approved the plat. So very excited about that. I did talk with Shay McMillan. Amy and I met with her to talk about the NRP and how that can be used for our infill properties. So I have meetings that I need to go talk to the commissioners about that and what we've discussed in moving forward. And then there's just our daily things that happen in our office. The small business development classes were offered in September. I realize October is fourth quarter, but throughout the year, we've offered it 4 times, and we had a total of 19 people take the class in Cloud County. So I felt like that was a great year for Cloud County and the small business development courses. I have provided site information to a company that contacted Cloud Corp directly instead of through the Kansas Department of Commerce, which I thought was exciting, and we're still having conversations. I have wrote 3 letters of support for local businesses that are moving forward with grants. And the Star Bond is now available in rural areas, and there is a future webinar coming out soon where I will be able to learn more about how the Star Bond has been adjusted for the rural communities. My fourth quarter focus, I did finalize and submit all of the required information needed to be awarded $60,000 for a recruitment incentive for Cloud County through the Cloud Corp office. The fourth quarter report's exciting because I had just sat down at Leadership Coffee, our first Friday of October, and I shared that I had submitted that and was waiting. And when I did get back to the office that morning, I was super excited. We were awarded that workforce money, and we do have the money ready to go. So now I just need to start taking the steps of what the businesses will need to do to be able to implement that workforce recruitment money. As I mentioned with the housing, we've got everything in line for the tax credits to flow for the 2024. Right now, I'm waiting on my next steps with our CDBG CVR application that was turned in with North Central Regional Planning Commission, and we applied for $150,000 through the county. Concordia was not able to be part of that project because of the revolving loan funds. But we should know by the end of October, we had contacted businesses to make sure this is a project and funds that we could implement throughout the rest of the communities in our county. And we're looking forward to moving forward. If we're awarded, we'll know here by the end of the month. I have began starting to plan our third annual Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge. I felt like our luncheon was amazing last year. I've got some big ideas that I'm trying to pull together right now. I don't know if I'll get it accomplished. It'll have the same kind of idea with the trade show. Everybody's feedback, they love the trade show and having the youth there. I'm definitely going to announce awards at the luncheon this year instead of saving it for the evening event. Working on a guest speaker. I have two amazing speakers I'm communicating with right now, just waiting to see if I can get a date nailed down and make it all come together and make it happen. I'm also excited for this fourth quarter for some professional development. I am starting to work towards an EDP certification course, which is an entrepreneurship development professional certification. And that is through International Economic Development Council. And super excited about that. My first class will be in December. I have to complete 5 classes before I can take the test for this certification. So that's what's been happening in the Cloud Corp office. And I don't know if Deb had a chance or not to let anyone know, but our computer is back at the plaza. Deb was able to control the screen today from her computer again, so that's exciting. And I know we're just waiting on the next decision for how they're going to repair those modulars. So any questions for me about the third quarter? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the public hearing of 720 State Street. The public hearing is now open.
Now, Commissioner, this has to do with, this is a reboot of the July 5th public hearing. We had to start over based on advice from the city attorney due to the fact that after the last public hearing, I was contacted by the owner, Patricia Robinson, by phone, and she made her aware, she wasn't aware that any of it, she indicated to me that she wasn't aware any of this was going on. So we started the process over, and she gave me her contact information. And before we allow public to talk, I would like to make sure that it's on the record that we did advertise this public hearing twice, September 15th and September 8th. So with that, I will stand aside and allow, I think there's some people here. Yeah.
Can you guys slide the podium a little bit more forward? You're not on camera at all.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
push the podium.
Are you here to speak about this? Okay. Before you start, I want to make everyone aware of some situations that took place regarding this property. We were notified by the owner of various things that she was not aware of. She thought repairs had been done that had not been done. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but there's a lot of things that had not been taken care of that she was under the impression being an out-of-state owner was taken care of. During that time, she indicated to us that she would communicate with us and that Ms. Khan was not to communicate for her. So I want to make that aware. I don't know what Ms. Khan is here to speak about, but she does not speak on behalf of the owner, or at least the process that we have going here, because we've had to start this process over because of certain things. So before you start speaking, that needs to be known. I don't know. I don't see that the owner is on. We have been in communication with them. They are aware of tonight, I believe, correct? And they're aware of the proceedings and that we had to start over. So there were some concerns in the beginning as to how things took place, not in here, but outside of here. So I want you guys, before you decide to make any decisions, full disclosure, you guys need to know that the owner has requested that we speak to her directly. So nobody here would be speaking on her behalf, at least for our proceedings. So thank you.
Public comments?
Hi, I'm Tracy Snyder. I live at 309 West 8th Street and I live immediately next door to this property. It is super discouraging that we are having to start over with this, and that while I understand what has been said to Bruno from the owner, the rental manager is still there working on that property. So I'm a little discouraged that we're starting over, but there's obviously still a partnership between the rental manager and the owner. I'm not sure if I need to reiterate all of the things that concern me about this house. If you need to rehear that, I would be glad to say it. Is that something that you would need to rehear? Because I'll give you the list of the last decade.
No, Tracy, I mean, I'm fully aware and have a
Okay.
very clear memory of what you said.
Then that's all that I do have. I am very discouraged with this process, because if we're going to have to start over from a legal standpoint, then it seems very odd to me that there's still a partnership. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm Tricia Champlin. I live 2 doors down from this property, and I was here the last time, so and reiterated what Tracy had said. And the condition of this property brings in tenants that bring issues into our neighborhood that we don't need there. I mean, my kids witnessed a domestic disturbance that brought officers in with their guns drawn, and they had a standoff with the resident at that time for like 30 minutes. I think it's devaluing our property. Sometimes I don't feel safe with the people that live there. So I just think it's kind of an eyesore and needs taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we make a decision, the owner did give me all the contact information, email and phone number. And for the first week or so after that, she was returning, but I had left several messages by phone, and I just left another one probably an hour ago. And I have sent a few emails and have had no response from the owner, which surprises me. But I don't know what to say or do at this point as far as who to contact or who to do. I did the email I just recently sent. I made her aware that there was appeared to be some cosmetic improvements done on the property, but that still doesn't make it habitable. And the habitability can't be achieved without licensing and permitting. And that's where it is at this point.
Are there any other public comments? Vicky, yes.
Okay. Yes, as far as I know, there's not been any difference. I've managed the property with this lady and I've been in constant contact. We had to get hoarders out. We've had them for a year. They've been very difficult to get out of there. So that's why the property has gone down. I have since then put siding on the garage and painted, and we've cleaned the whole thing out. I had a termite inspection. There's no active termite activity in the house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or a bath and a half house, which is pretty rare in this town to have. I know that the city has resented that garage from day one because it was put up, I guess, without a permit. But that was years ago, I guess, it's probably grandfathered in. I talk to the owner all the time. She doesn't understand why that she feels this has been targeted. The neighbors next door did say that there was a rat infestation. That was not true. The animal control came over, set traps, caught one rat. I put in a system, and there's been not a rat in there or a mouse since. So I just feel that this is being targeted unfairly, and that it's worth more than just tearing down. And it shouldn't be taken down just because I know it's an ugly color, but we're gonna paint it and fix it. I've had the gutter people in, I'm doing the stuff that needs to be done to make it. It's fine inside, it just needs to be cleaned and taken care of, so I don't see a reason to tear down a house when there's others in a lot better, worse condition.
Are there any other public comments? If not, the public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to the action agenda. The resolution.
Well, this is where you decide if you want. As with any condemnation, the decision of if you want to allow time for decision for the owner to remove or replace or repair. And last time we gave 60 days, and as we said, we had to start that all over. But even that, any days, it's still this particular one's. In my mind, the beginning of a process would be a permit application and a scope of work. And the scope of work has to meet what I would require to make that house happen.
And you've already made the owner aware of those requirements for maintenance, correct?
The condition report says a lot of it. Yeah, we don't have I've got a habitability list that I pass out to people all the time, what the minimum habitability requirements for a single family dwelling are. But each case is different, you know, if it's structural, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, you know, there's no, last I knew the furnace doesn't work. The fan's laying out with no drain, you know, no kitchen sink for sanitation, no hot water or things like that, and all that stuff requires licensed people to do it. So if it's been done and it's not been permitted, so we need to make sure that that stuff's gonna happen, it's done by the book, basically. That's the situation we're in, you know. And there's some foundation issues with the house. I mean, it's not just slap some paint on it and let's start renting out again, because it's got, you know, there's some structural issues and there's some with foundation and with joists, and there's some all kinds of sanitation issues and habitability as far as heat and ventilation.
During the last 60-day period, when we did make contact with the owner, Bruno did provide a copy of the conditions report and offered additional pictures that he had. And the owner talked with both Bruno and I at length, and got the same information from both of us.
Well, I appreciate the work that you've done on this. I will say, without having a working sink in the kitchen, without having a furnace, with the floor joists being in danger of the floor falling in, these are inhumane conditions for people to live in. I really think that it's very bothersome, and it's also very discouraging to the neighbors. And I apologize to the neighbors that we've had to push this back, and I appreciate your understanding that we had to, for legal reasons. We need to make sure we cross all of our T's and dot our I's. But I am very much in favor of moving forward with this resolution tonight, because it's the right thing to do for the neighborhood and to make sure there's not an unsafe situation for people moving forward.
I think in Bruno's recommendation, he has 60 days on there. I'll remind the commission, one of the reasons that we used 60 days last time was because the house had occupants in it. So that was to allow additional time to help get the occupants out and to be able to make the repairs or initiate the repairs. The house is without occupants, is that correct, Vicky?
That's correct.
Without occupants at this time, so if the commission want to amend that time frame, you are allowed to do so.
I'd like to move to approve resolution 2023-2164 with the amendment of 30 days.
Second.
Any other discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll move on to,
Thank you. Letter will be sent with a copy of the resolution to the owner.
move on to the minutes of the October 4th meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the October 4th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Not those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Move on to appropriation ordinance number 19. I had one question, Amber. On Campbell and Johnson. You changed the amount from the. They didn't add up to start with. It still does. Okay. The check was for. Okay. When I looked at it at first, it's not. I thought it was $1,995. It's $51,995. So it's okay. I couldn't figure out how to add it up. It's okay.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 19.
Second.
Any other discussion? Not those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Go on to the final plat of the St. Joseph subdivision.
Mayor and commissioners, we're pleased to have the final plat of the St. Joseph subdivision before you. The planning commission did approve that back on October 3rd. Bruno's prepared a nice staff report here that gives all of that information. Thank you to all of you that were in attendance at that planning commission meeting too. That did help out tremendously. Ken Johnson's back with us too, so if we have any additional questions about the plat, he's here and available to answer questions as well. Bruno, Ken, do you guys have anything to add?
We do have copies up here we'll be gathering signatures on if it gets approved, and there's also a copy of the preliminary plat so you can actually see what kind of infrastructure is gonna look like, the sewer lines, water lines, and streets, design.
This is a huge milestone if you choose to pass this tonight, because once it's passed and all the signatures are obtained, when we record it at the register of deeds, that's when it officially creates lots and blocks in that area where the former hospital was. So we have official lots and blocks on which to build homes. That's huge.
I move to approve the final plat for the St. Joseph subdivision, authorizing the mayor and city manager to sign and accept all dedicated easements and public right of ways and spaces.
My second.
Any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Move on to the employees and
Once again, we are updating the handbook, which happens every October-ish every year. Pretty minimal changes that we discussed this time. As you can see in 311 under holiday compensation, we discussed that it should say that someone should also be working after a holiday in order to be paid for the holiday. We just added one line in for weapons to say that you can do an open or concealed carry if you're at least 18 years old. And then a couple other things under employee discipline that staff wanted. And you can see there. That came about, from something that actually happens, which is usually how these changes are come about. We did add under 11.4E, we added number 5, that someone does have 14 days to file a written response. And then added 11.6 under resignation for employees' final paycheck to be paid before they leave, or they will be responsible. Not paycheck, but the benefits that are come out of the paycheck. Sometimes this happens, but it's very, very rare. And then under meals and food, we just discussed. Was that a state amount we came up with, a total?
I was gonna say the total amount.
The total.
It was a total daily amount that we had seen online. And that's where we came up this. We decided breakfast is pretty easy to get, $10. Sometimes, especially if you're eating at a venue that's a hotel or whatever, sometimes it's really hard to do lunch or dinner for those prices. So we recommended increasing those, and those were all of the changes.
Do we need to increase the total from 51 to?
Oh, yes. Didn't notice there was a total.
Anyway,
Yep, I'll do that.
I approve. I move to approve resolution 2023-2165 as amended.
Second.
any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to Parks Department.
Commissioners, as you recall, I brought this up a couple different times of when we were working through the truck that we had swapped with the animal control truck when ours was broke down. It's since had more and more mechanical issues. Currently has another leak. And Aaron told me just last week it took a while to get going and start again. So it's days are numbered. I've gone back and forth pretty much all year with the dealerships here and their ability to order new vehicles and whether the plants are making or not making, it's coming on. So here recently I sent out 7 bids across the area, didn't get anything back. And then so I revisited both Chevy and Farm Country Ford and possible options. This was the only truck that they were able to come up with from Farm Country. He actually had to go to Arkansas to find it. So he really had to expand his search and their swap capabilities. So what I'm asking tonight is your approval of purchase of the 2023 F-150 for Farm Country Ford for the amount of $50,345.
So that you said this is on hand then? Here.
Yeah, it should be here this week. When I talked to him last week, he was gonna have it come no matter what. Cause even if we didn't take it, they could do something with it, so it should be on the lot by now, I would think, for their possession.
Do you guys see is there any benefit? Do you guys just normally have a toolbox on the back of
This vehicle carries a fogger,
the fogger?
so we have to have 4-wheel drive for that.
And it's specifically then for that, or it also serves that purpose?
It also serves, so all summer or spring, summer through, it's still in there now. The fogger's in it, so that's its main purpose.
Okay.
And then it's just another, fleet vehicle for other uses too. So it's got a toolbox in it for other areas.
And the old vehicle, what's just to sell on Purple Wave or try to get rid of, or is it a
Yeah.
trade-in? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be Purple Wave.
Okay, and there's no value to trade it in with Ford.
We didn't talk to them about that much.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be very much for the condition and what's going on. Even Shelby said for the repairs, it wasn't really worth doing even trying the repairs. City mechanic.
Okay.
That's what I'm through.
I guess I mean, of course, you'd want to check and see what trade-in would be, you know, and see how much that would take off, or it'd be nice next time just to have that kind of idea on what, you know, we could get from Purple Wave.
It's hard to know what you're gonna get. from it.
Yeah.
But I mean, trade in value, it'd be nice just to ask what that is. I mean, being very apparent as to what's wrong with it.
The silver one from Gun Purple Wave.
I was thinking it was around $5,000, yeah, possibly, which will probably be more than the trade that I would assume.
Purple Wave does.
And it was the exact same model year, pretty much mileage. I mean, they were bought at the same time. Back in. That was. So.
When we go to, when we do Purple Wave, then that money goes right back into the equipment replacement fund too, so it'd be a similar impact to the trade-in value.
The equipment replacement fund, is there a separate one for each department? Right.
Same fund, separate allocation, is that correct?
I move to approve the purchase of the 2023 Ford F-150 XL from Farm Country Ford for $50,345.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I know that that's not.
On the fire department.
Good evening. As you remember, a while back, we was lucky enough to get the Dana Hanson grant to get a striker power load cot. And as we discussed last meeting, we're back here tonight asking if we can kind of start moving forward with that plan. What we'd like to do is we'd like to outfit the 2 medic units that we're gonna have left, because we're gonna be dropping down from 4 to 3 is kind of the plan right now. Outfitting them with power load striker cots, so it'd be a brand new cot, brand new load system. What we'd like to do is purchase one of those immediately, and then the other one, with your guys' approval tonight, would be purchased, ordered, but then would be paid for and received in 2024. They've got some lead time. They've got one coming off now that we can get, but we need to place an order so we can get on that list and get one in January or February now. Otherwise, we're gonna be pushing back months here like we have been. The cot has been a great use, the one we have, and it is very apparent from my guys and gals that when they take transfers and stuff, when they have to use one of the older manual cots, it is a lot more strain on the back and that, so we'd like to get this done as quickly as possible. The total cost for the striker cots would be $50,960.89. Striker is willing to, if we order these or do this now and let them know that price will be locked in where they expect a price increase. So that's part of the reason why we're trying to get this now and keep those prices low. So what we're asking for tonight is for approval to obligate to Stryker for a total of $101,921.78. That being one cot purchased now and one being ordered with the receiving date of 2024.
And when we did this the first time for the first cot, they do have like a maintenance or, right, there's a program. So is that separate per cot?
That is going to be wrapped up into one program because we're ordering them all so quick. They're going to maintenance it all for that one.
Okay, so there's no additional cost for that. Okay.
We have it pretty good in right now with Stryker with the regional rep. He is from Concordia, so he treats us very well.
I appreciate this, Eric. I mean, this goes a long way for retention and making sure we don't get into worker comp issues and all of those things. So, and I appreciate the thought of the whole plan last time. So, I would move to approve the purchase of the 2 Stryker power load systems for a total of $101,921.78. One to be purchased in 2023 and one to be purchased in 2024.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Move on to the manager's report.
Mayor Commissioners, a lot of weeks involved, a lot of travel with a lot of, I guess you say, pre-legislative session things going on and a lot of different programs going on. We had the league annual conference a couple weekends ago. That went really well in Wichita over multiple days, so thank you, Amy, for attending that. I hope you enjoyed it too. And then, we had a KDOT local consult meeting last Tuesday. They talked a lot about where the IKE program was, and then we looked at North Central Kansas Region 2, and the projects were on the slate and possibly coming on, and got to get feedback on those. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of those in our area, and so we don't know if that's because we've had a lot of work done in our area, and so everything's caught up, or if that means that we have a lack of advocacy from our area for upcoming projects. So we're diving into that. We're also, let's see, attended the League Legislative Forum in Hayes today. Went over the statement of municipal policy and listened to one of the senators from that area kind of talk about what he viewed as upcoming items and what he needed from us as well. Also wanted to let you know that the next steps on the housing subdivision project will involve bringing before you some resolutions to authorize the temporary financing for the public infrastructure. We're kind of drilling down on exactly what that means and why we're choosing this methodology, and then also updating the spreadsheet for the RHID so that you can see exactly the impact of those proposed homes with some updated values there. And then if you'll recall, during the planning commission, there was discussion about the stormwater runoff and drainage, and Jason Johnson presented a good plan on how to mitigate making that challenge worse of having water flow from the St. Joseph subdivision to the existing Mount Joseph property. Tomorrow, Fuller and I are going to go meet on site with Darren to help work through the existing issue that he has there at Mount Joseph, and help him design that so that it will hopefully make the situation better as he works to improve the pavement and parking circulation in that area as well. So that's what I have. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Staff report.
Brief you guys on the college sign situation. College, as you know, applied for a sign out along so they can get some exposure along that 81 highway on a piece of land that didn't have a business on it. We went through a lot of work and got it approved, and they even got a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals to make it 10 foot higher. And due to my mistake and my ignorance, I informed them from the very beginning, I didn't think they needed anything from the state. But I was asked to double check, and I double checked, and looking at the statute, I got confused. So I called them, and I sent them the information, and they said, yes, this needs a license from the state of Kansas. So, and since then we've corresponded with the state, the college, everybody involved. We've got letters from the airport saying that there's no issues there. They've got a letter from the city saying that that's been approved and it meets all of our sign regulations, and that they actually got a 10 foot variance for the height of it. And so now we're sitting with our fingers crossed. And also, I just now thought of it, but we've got some contact from the floodplain technical assistance people.
Yes.
And they're dusting up the font. They pretty much got all the math done, and they're doing the final dust up, and then they'll be scheduling some meetings with us to kind of look it over and see what they've discovered, and they think they're getting real close. So we're hopeful that gets rolling pretty quickly.
As we're winding down our fall rec season, I just want to give you a rundown of what all we had going on. We had sand volleyball. We had 6 teams this year, which is a couple less than the last couple of years, various reasons, but I was spread across 50 different adults in that one. The soccer league, we had 20 teams this year, which is a step up from the past couple of years. So that was good to see, spanning over 200 plus kids. Like I said, 20 teams, 13 of them from Concordia, and the other ones are actually from Belleville and Pike Valley, actually came down, so bringing those in. Flag football, we had 15 teams this year, 7 Concordia teams and 8 from out of town, the same way, Belleville, Pike Valley, and then Clifton Clyde as well. Girls volleyball, we had 10 teams, 3 of them for con. Even though the fitness 6 was a pretty loaded group, we were right on the line of having 2 teams, but so another big group from Belleville and Pike Valley coming in with over 100 kids tonight, playing volleyball this year. And then women's volleyball finishes up next Monday is our last day of that. And we had 4 teams in that. Last year we had 5, so it is one down. But another, like I said, about another 40 plus women in that league as well. So it was a pretty active and pretty busy fall for the rec. And then basketball will start up. The registration is open for our camps and the 3-on-3 league like we did last year. So we're looking for another build on that one. It is open and will start in December this year, so a little bit earlier with the camps. And also I'd like to invite you and everybody else, next Tuesday, the 24th at 6 p.m. We're having a free community event at the plaza. Weather pending, it's not looking good right now with rain, so hopefully that gets pushed off. But we're going to be showing Hocus Pocus, Halloween classic. That's on the screen, and like you heard her say that the screen is fixed, so we're going to hopefully it stays that way within the next week. So we're going to go test it Friday tomorrow with the movie. And then we'll also be doing s'mores and hot chocolate with cooler weather. I've been working with Chief Voss on the roasting of the s'mores and our options of that. We're going to be having a pretty innovative idea of a feed trough in the parking stalls, so we can spread out. We're going to be using charcoal, so there's no flame or less flame. And we'll roast some marshmallows there and still abide by the plaza rules and all like that. So should be a fun event. Come on out, even if it's for a quick bite and a hot chocolate. And if you want to stay for the movie, stay for the movie. So should be a fun event. So.
Couple things. First off, I did want to mention, sometimes I like to come up here and say happy thanks. I've had a lot of compliments on volleyball and soccer. This year I know quite a few people who kids played in, and they talked about how much fun their kids had and how well it was done. So kudos to Parks and Rec. So I'm really glad that the Plaza's computer's working, because anything that has to do with computers in my life have broken lately and broken astronomically. So what has happened is that the e-filing system in Kansas, which is the entire state of Kansas, which is any filing, child support, financial stuff, anything that has to do with the judiciary system had a security breach, is the fancy way that they're putting it. And so the website's just not even there right now. And the reason why I'm letting you guys know that is that the eminent domain proceeding, so where we're at with all of that right now is that we passed the resolution, which is the first step. We did that a while back. We got the legals and the survey. Then after that, we passed the ordinance, which essentially directs me to go ahead and get the process going. In that process, first steps I like to take are trying to notify the owner of the beginning of this process. Here's what we have going. We want to let you know. So then by doing that, that allows me to then very quickly, once the petition is filed, request permission to publicize the notice of the petition and the hearing date. So we have done that, have not had any response back from any of the folks. So next stop is filing the petition. It's a little bit difficult right now because we're back to kind of like 1992 style of practicing law. Everything is done by paper. And if I want to file something, I have to bring it in paper with a paper check. And then every night the courts then have to go and make actual deposits at the bank. So we just found out that that was what we have to do for the time being yesterday in a meeting. So I will gather up all the things that would have been electronic and very easy to just upload, make into a PDF and file. I will have to gather all of those up, hard copies, and then get them taken up there. What the first step in it is the petition, the request to publicize, copy of the ordinance, copy of the resolution, copy of the legals and the survey as well. So wanted to let you guys know we are in the beginning steps now of that. Also, the reason why I didn't come to just solely complain about the computers, that does delay things a little bit because the process now slows down. But the timeline we gave you guys for this, I don't think changes at this point in time. What is going to happen is when I deliver that stuff, it then manually has to be entered in. And then when the e-filing system is loaded back up, they then have to manually enter that into the e-filing system as well. So my goal is to get everything gathered up and filed as quickly as possible, so at least it's there on the books. More so we can get a hearing date to get the process going and get things publicized. So there may be a little lull in things, but I don't think it will significantly increase. I don't think it will significantly impact the window of time that we were looking at to go ahead and get this finished. So we are working on that as we try to, you know, they told us that we could do it really easy. We could file things by fax. And I made the discovery that my fax machine hasn't worked for the last 3 years because nobody uses a fax machine. So I have my fax machine working. What's that?
We threw ours away.
Yeah, well, don't do that, because someday you'll have a security breach and you have to go back to doing that, so. But I just want to let you kind of update you guys on that, and then I'll update you as the process goes on, because then we have a hearing, we have to appoint appraisers, that's further down the road. I think if I go through the whole process, you're just gonna kind of go, oh, cool, why don't you keep us updated? So that's the beginning steps here that we're doing next. So does anybody have any questions or anything?
You said it shouldn't set us back too much. How much is not too much?
I don't suspect it's gonna set us back at all. Because I gave us a little buffer for those things, because we're kind of at the mercy a lot of times when it comes to hearings of the court. So, and I do know that the judge is gonna have a medical procedure done, and so she's out for a bit. So getting into another judge may take a little finagling as well. But I know the judges, so we can get in. So I don't suspect it's going to impact anything really truly.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Any other staff reports? Mission?
Nothing.
I did appreciate the opportunity to go to the League of Kansas Municipalities, for the networking and just the information, so that was helpful, so thanks for encouraging me to go. And I also had a question just about the street sweeper, which I think we've talked about this maybe at a different meeting, but how does it clean all the streets, or do we only clean our main roads with it? Could we clean all the streets with it?
We, every so often will go around and make a sweep of the town, yes. But normally we try to keep downtown clean at least once a week. And we do it on like Sunday night, Sunday morning. But with leaves starting to fall is when you'll see us out more.
Doing like more roads or more streets
Yes.
in the fall?
Yeah.
I also was curious if there was like a collaboration between like nonprofits and other things for the purpose of sharing communication, like Pawnee and the food bank and the senior center and stuff like that. Do they have like a collaboration?
There is a
And-
resource roundtable. It's held every month at noon, and Cami Thurner organizes that, and a lot of those entities gather together and just share what's going on with each other, and then they'll share any information, leave information flyers back and forth for them to disseminate out.
Okay, and then they would communicate with the city if there was ever a need to.
Yes.
Do so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I think.
Chuck? You have anything?
Just would invite folks over to Hood Park next weekend, the 28th, for the annual Haunting in the Hood. So it's usually a pretty good time, nice time to celebrate community. So I would have the details, but I'm not nearly as organized as my beautiful bride. So I know it's Saturday night in the evening. So coming out to Hood Park.
So anyone else? If not, we'll move on to the executive session.
How many minutes do you think?
15, no more.
15.
Okay. I move that the city commission recess into the executive session for consultation with an attorney for information deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship exception, KSA 754319B2, with Amy Lang, Justin Farrell, and Brent Gehring in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:40. Yeah. Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
I'm sure.
Executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.